States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I call to order the regular Van Zandt County Commissioners Court meeting on Wednesday, March the 16th, 2022, at 9:01 a.m. Announced quorum is established with all members of the court present with the exception of Commissioner West. He is not able to be here with us today. We do have a quorum. Item number 2, discuss and consider dispensing with the reading of the minutes of the meeting of the Commissioners Court and approval of same for March the 2nd, 2022. Got a motion by Commissioner Melton. Second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions, corrections, addition? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 3, discuss and consider approval of county bills for payment as submitted. Got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade, second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions or discussion about the bills that's been submitted for payment? Being none, all in favor of approving, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 4, discuss and consider ratifying of county bills as submitted.
So moved, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson,
Second.
second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion about the bills that's been submitted for ratifying? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 5, general business. Is there any general business we need to be made aware of? Anybody? I would like to make an announcement that on April the 13th, we will be paying Van Zandt County's final debt off. Van Zandt County will be debt free as of April the 13th. We plan on having a big celebration here. It's been a long time coming, a lot of hard work. It's been tough, but when we came in, we said it could be done, and we've done it. And we want to have a celebration. So anyone you know or that invite them. That is about a month from now. So we're excited about it.
Cake and punch.
We are going to have. Hey, we're going to have cake. Cake, punch, and ice cream.
Oh, ice cream.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Are you leaving the 14th?
All my promises will have been fulfilled. But it is an exciting time for Van Zandt County. And any other general business we need to, anyone have any announcements or anything? I guess we do have a recount.
I was gonna say, there's a recount tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Upstairs in the 294.
Yeah, we do have a commissioner, or not commissioner, Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 recount tomorrow in the morning, 9 o'clock upstairs. Any other general business? Okay, being none, we'll move to item number 6, public comments. We did have one sign up for public comments. David Dunnigan wants to discuss agenda item number 8 and 9.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'd like to speak about items 8 and 9 on the agenda regarding the upcoming electricity pricing for a large portion of the Van Zandt County operational facilities. I'm here to express my concerns as a citizen, knowing that our tax dollars that make up the majority of your budget are already stretched thin and even tighter going forward. First, in your negotiations, I'm very concerned about the non-contracted fee portion of any agreement, meaning any pass-through fees that will be outside of the contracted kilowatt hour rates. As we saw in the major storm of February 2021, counties such as Williamson County, even though they were contracted with P3, were hit with large pass-through fees that were unbudgeted. Now, this might seem to be a one-off situation, but with the increase of wind and solar, which ERCOT classifies as intermittent energy, these situations are going to continue to increase. To confirm this, Potomac Economics provided a state of the market report to ERCOT in May of last year that specifically stated that transmission congestions were up 11% in 2020, and that totaled $1.4 billion directly, directly because of the increase of renewable energy. That's $1.6 billion that were passed on to Texas consumers. This issue needs to be addressed in the bidding process. Second is the concern of any bidding company that encourages a heavy mix of intermittent wind and solar energy. For some companies, it's a badge of virtue to embrace Green New Deal wind and solar, but badges don't pay bills and they don't meet budgets. Some of the websites of people who are going to be bidding have stated that long-term on-peak powered prices declining with the impact of renewables, and on-peak price volatility is suppressed by rapidly deployed solar at a known cost of production. Now, I suspect these websites are a bit out of date, considering that some new presentations that y'all were given talk about February's last weather event, where intermittent energy suppliers, wind and solar, failed Texans, and then moved the price point out of their target rates, and they had to stop the procurement process. But the bottom line is, renewables were supposed to help, and they didn't. Now in this procurement process you're fixing to go through, companies are going to have to deal with the market reforms that Senate Bill 3 put in place last May to enact reliability standards. These standards are to level the volatile energy market, but what will it cost consumers that are vested heavily in intermittent renewables? The bottom line is that any firming requirements that Senate Bill 3 required the PUC to take could affect Texas consumers, including Van Zandt County. I would like to see a detailed explanation of anyone's bidding on exactly how this will affect the county, not only with multi-year fixed rates for usage, but any other ancillary fees and pass-throughs that the county could face. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. There's no more public comments. We'll move to item number 7, discuss and approve Van Zandt County geology. I had you Society 2021 year-end report. But you have the report in your. Yeah.
I put a notebook there on the
Yeah.
other desk for everybody.
Yeah, and they have it in their books also. Thank you for being here with us today.
Yes, it's
That's
good
a
to
great
be, good to
report.
see everybody. Yeah, I'm always glad to come. Well, as you know, we're the Library of Genealogy and Local History. And we're just very pleased to be able to offer our services to the county. And we just so appreciate you all allowing us to have space in the county, the annex at the courthouse, and to earn money on First Monday weekends, parking cars. That's what funds our library and the things that we do. But first, I want to do something really fun. We offer a certificate, which I awarded the last time I was here, the 100 Years of Family Living in Van Zandt County. And I want to tell you a little bit about a 100-year family that we have here. The settlers who came to Van Zandt County brought a wide range of talent, desires, and dreams. James Frazier was one of those individuals. He was born in 1867 in Toccopola, Pontotoc County, Mississippi. In 1889, he married Mary Jane in Mississippi. Mary Jane was born in 1870, also in Pontotoc County, Mississippi. In 1900 and 1910, James was a farmer in Mississippi. He and Mary Jane had 6 children. After 1910, James and Mary Jane moved their family to Van Zandt County. He and Mary Jane had 3 more children, the youngest one being Jimmy Lee. He and Mary lived in Precinct 1 in Van Zandt County, off of Canton and Grand Saline Highway in Lawrence Springs community. The census tells us that he completed 3 years of high school. James passed away in 1944 and is buried in Highland Cemetery. Mary Jane attended the Lawrence Springs Baptist Church. She passed away in 1958 and is also buried in Highland Cemetery. Their son, Jimmy Lee, was born in Edgewood in 1914. He was also a farmer in Van Zandt County. Jimmy Lee married Maudie Fay in 1938 in Van Zandt County. Monty was born in 1918 in Lawrence Springs in Van Zandt County. Jimmy Lee passed away in 1977 and is also buried in Highland Cemetery. Monty passed away in 2001 in Grand Saline. She also attended the Lawrence Springs Missionary Baptist Church and is buried in the Highland Cemetery. Their son, Roy Lee, was born in Fruitvale in 1947. He married Marcia Lynn in 1967 in Van Zandt County. Roy Lee passed away in 2012 in Fruitvale and is buried in the Creekleville Cemetery. Their son serves as a Van Zandt County Commissioner today. It is our pleasure to award the 100 Years of Family Living in Van Zandt County certificate to Commissioner Chad Lynn LaPrade.
Yay. You don't look hungry.
Somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal.
When we did the, at Edgewood, when we did the courthouse, he had on this big long deerskin jacket, and razor, right, he looked the part. Didn't he?
It is.
Well, it's my job as president of the Genealogy Society to bring you all a 2021 report. And like every place, our activities were a bit scaled back due to the pandemic, but we still managed to keep the library open and to do our volunteer hours. We had 15 volunteer librarians who worked a total of 3,122 hours at the Genealogy Library. We also have a parking crew. The librarians have special projects. We publish the quarterly 4 times a year. And it's an award-winning quarterly, by the way. And we have in-county patrons and out-of-county patrons, and we even have folks come from out of state. We're open 6 days a week. Our big project this year is going to be trying to purchase a new working microfilm machine. We have 4 that kind of limp along, and but we're trying to purchase a new one this year. That's our goal, is to get a new one. We put out flags on the veterans' graves every Veterans Day and Flag Day and Memorial Day. We published a history this year of downtown Canton buildings. It was written by Larry Greer and Benjamin Mize, and they researched the history of all the buildings downtown and compiled the information. Right now, they're working on the history of all the senators and representatives from Van Zandt County from the beginning of time till now. We got pictures of all of them, and we're doing their biographies and their history. We do programs around the city and around the county about our history, to emphasize the fact that this is a great place to live. We refurbished the history of the historical marker at Asbury Cemetery for Private Adrian England. And this is the fun part, y'all. We have located 55 War of 1812 veterans buried in Van Zandt County. 55. I mean, I was stunned when I started that project about 6 years ago. I thought we'd have, a couple of dozen maybe. We've now got 55 that are buried here. In our report, I gave you some pictures so that you can kind of see what's been going on this year. And we have invested this year, or in 2021, $16,745.21 in the purchase of equipment and computers and running our library. And we just want to, once again, tell you how thankful we are for the opportunity to have our library in the courthouse annex. Does anybody have any questions about our report?
Good work.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're all devoted to it.
You do a great job. I tell you, you do a great job. And we did, it was fun to come to Edgewood and hold a actual commissioners court meeting in the courthouse.
Yeah.
There, it was fun. We had a great time, but you guys are busy. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Also, that whole meeting is on Facebook Live. We put that, if anybody ever wants to watch it again, if you couldn't be there, they did a commissioners meeting in the old courthouse at Edgewood, the historical park, and I did Facebook Live, so the whole thing's on Facebook Live.
Thank you. Appreciate
Is there a
it.
motion to approve the report?
Made.
We got one by Commissioner LaPrade. There's a second by Commissioner Melton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
You too.
Thanks for letting me stop
Yes,
by.
ma'am. Good to see you.
Item number 8, presentation from David Quinn, Program Manager regarding Public Power Pool 2021-2022 procurement. Mr. Quinn, you may make your presentation.
How you doing?
Good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you this morning. It's good to see you all again. My name is David Quinn. I am the Program Manager for Public Power Pool. Public Power Pool was created back in 2002 by Texas counties seeking to procure, involve, and leverage the size of the group to negotiate down wholesale prices, get closer to wholesale, and lock in reduced rates by the purchasing power of the group. In addition, we're leveraging the size of the group to negotiate better quality contracts. We are using our paper that we have identified as a better contract to defend the needs of our members. And we provide full contract service to members. The size of the group speaks for itself. We've grown in leaps and bounds. We were originally formed by Tarrant, Dallas, Harris, and Jefferson counties. There's a handout on the second page of the folder there that shows you our current membership. We are 100 members strong, about 50 Texas counties, 37 in the North Zone, which is your pricing zone of Texas, including a lot of your members, a lot of your neighboring counties. And our record on page 3, I think, speaks for itself. We've saved members over $160 million against market prices since the program began, and that is comparing the contracted rates that we've negotiated for each of our 8 contracts compared to the market setting price for electricity every single day since the program began in 2002. A little bit about how we do this. I should say Van Zandt County, since you all joined in 2014, you all saved $97,000 against market by being part of this group. Now, we do a procurement, we send out an RFP to every registered retail electric provider in the state. And the last time we did this, there were 154 registered with the PUC. The last time we reached out to the PUC, that's dropped off a little bit. There's some bankruptcies and some closures. So we're now looking, I think, at a list of somewhere around about 130. Every single one of those entities is invited to bid on this contract. We want to make sure that we have a level playing field. We want to make sure that everyone is invited to show us their best offer. Once we have identified a long list and then ultimately a short list of providers, we take into account credit ratings, back office support, the ability of a retailer to be able to handle a load of this size. We have a short list in the end that we are still using to competitively bid the final request for prices. So we're not taking a price from one retailer, we're taking a price from several in the belief that by opening it up, we're going to get the best and lowest possible bid. The last time we did this, for the county, we locked you in at a rate of 3.2 cents per kilowatt hour. That's as in the current contract for 2020 through 2022. It's 3.2 cents for the averaged out over the 3 years of the contract. For this year, it's 3.25 because we do price each year of the contract independently. And you can see on page 4 there, that is before budget report that we send out every year based on changing consumption patterns. That shows you exactly what you should forward budget expect to pay under this contract. So we're showing you here the 2022 costs. The commodity cost is the section that we have control over. We also have control over the nodal cost, which we include in the energy cost. So that's zeroed out. Our aggregation fee, which we're totally transparent about at $850 for this year. And then all of the other component costs are shown in the utility and taxes. As you can see there, you're paying pretty much half of your bill goes to the retailer and half of it goes to the TDSP, the delivery guys. So we wanted to start a new procurement just over a year and a half ago, in the belief that we would want to try to defend this rate and get you a low rate going forward that would continue to get you savings against market pricing and give you protection, and give you the stability that you need. We know that budget stability is a huge part of what the subdivision members want from P3. So we want to make sure that we'll be able to lock in a new rate for a new contract beginning in 2023. We've gone through the entire process of reaching out to every retail electric provider. We were in the final stages of negotiating final contracts and then requesting indicative pricing. And this is last February, and then we went to review, and it threw the markets into disarray. It became very clear very quickly that we were going to be unable to meet our initial target rates under that procurement proposal. So the board told us to suspend the procurement, put everything on hold, monitor the marketplace, and then come back once we're able to identify pricing that is close to what you currently pay. And that is why we're back in the marketplace right now, and why we have sent out revised procurement proposals. And the most important part of that proposal is shown on page 7 of the handout. Page 7 will show you your current rate at the very top, 3.25 cents. The annual cost of about $94,500. Underneath that is the ceiling rate. The ceiling rate is defined by the board as the very maximum that we would be unable to procure at. If we cannot come in with a rate below the ceiling, then we have to scrap the procurement, go back to the drawing board, reissue procurement proposals with new rate estimates. So the ceiling is the very maximum that we will be able to procure at. To the left is another column showing the expected rates. And those are the rates that we would be targeting. We have always done significantly better than our ceilings. The ceiling rate gives us the flexibility as the market changes over the coming weeks and months before we execute to contemplate a range of prices. The last time that we did a procurement, we actually did better than our expected rate. So it was, very favorable market conditions. Nobody can predict what's going to be happening. But the expected rate is what we would be targeting for the county. So you can see there that once you get to between 5 and 7 years, you'd be looking at a rate that would be below what you're currently paying. The forward pricing curve that we run on a weekly basis shows how pricing availability for every future year for a variety of term lengths. And if you flip back one page, the current pricing curve that we ran last month, shown there for Zandt County, you can see the trend. The closer the year, the higher the price. The further you go out, the lower the price. So we think that there's something to be said there in terms of the perfect contract term. And as I've gone around and visited with P3 members around the stage, a lot of members are saying, let's go as long as possible and lock in a price. Other members are saying, well, maybe we should just be 5 to 7 years. We're going to take all of these into consideration, report these to the technical committee that meets on the second Tuesday of every month, and look for recommendations of the P3 board in due course about what we think the optimum term length would be. Now, if one member says, say if 99 of our members say we want to go 7 years, and one member says, well, we want to go 5 years, then we will put that single member in a 5-year contract. But the understanding being that at the end of 5 years, that member would be out there by itself, would be procuring for that entity individually, and would not be able to deliver the bulk discounts that comes from the group purchase. I'm happy to answer any questions. Maybe now's a good time for me to pause.
Well, on the curve, current pricing curve.
Yeah.
For 2023, it looks like you got 4.6 cents.
Yeah.
Why is that so high for 2023?
There's more stress on the marketplace for the short-term pricing, and this has been a trend that we have witnessed for quite a while now. If you were to do a shorter-term contract starting in 2023 for 1, 2, or 3 years, the price is going to be higher than you would if you extended that contract out further. Future pricing after the next couple of years is significantly lower. It's just the way the market is pricing electricity. And there are a variety of reasons for that. One is that We are seeing a lot of short-term instability right now, which is disrupting short-term delivery prices. But we're also seeing the emergence of new technology. And it's not necessarily just renewables. It is also the fact that in addition to renewables, the biggest game-changing technology that's happening right now is battery technology. If the wind and the solar guys are able to store that power, even for 15 minutes, and it becomes significantly more valuable. So there are some technological changes that we think going out into the future are contributing to this drop in prices over time.
Any other questions for Mr. Wynn? And we have met, Mr. Wynn had met with Sandy and I, and we went and I instantly thought, well, you'd be better off to go as long as you could to get the cheapest rate. And there was, and Mr. Wynn said, well, you might not. Yeah, there may be an advantage of not going the full. But thank you. Is there any other questions?
If I could just add, just quickly, Judge, one of the advantages of being with P3 is not just a bulk purchasing, but also a better quality contract. We've got provisions in the P3 contract that we have designed to protect members. Things like, any additional account adds or deletes at no cost. So any change in your consumption over time, there's no penalty. That's already part of the load. You have unfettered access to any demand side, third-party efficiency improvements. And we're also looking at a provision that would allow members, if they wanted, to swap out conventional power for green power if it is available at the same price without having to pay a premium. So those are things that we're exploring, that we're building into our contract. The difference between us and brokers is that we're a 501c4 political subdivision corporation created by Texas counties. We're working for you. We're delivering what we think is the best quality service and best quality product without trying to make money. We want to save you taxpayer dollars. Our aggregation fee of 59.3 cents is significantly lower than what brokers would charge in this business. In fact, we've looked at a recent survey by ABC about what the average price of brokers charge for their services will be, and we find it's between $5 and $7 per megawatt hour. So you can see that P3's price is significantly lower, and that again is because of the economies of scale, because the product that we're offering, that you're a part of, ensures that we're sharing a lot of those costs between the members and really driving down the price of each individual member.
What'd you say your cost was?
59.3 cents a megawatt hour. And we take no commission from brokers. So a lot of brokers will, first of all, charge a fee, and then they would also take a commission they receive from a retailer for delivering the business. And we don't do that. We absolutely refuse to take any kind of commission from the retailer. And again, when we procure, we're opening up our bid to every retail electric provider.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Thank you for
Thank you,
being here.
Judge.
Thank you for your time.
And I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions.
Is there, I guess there's information here that in case they are public members that we need to contact
Yes.
Your company.
Yes, my card is in the folder. I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested in getting a better deal.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 9, presentation of direct energy NRG regarding electricity pricing. I skipped the name because I think we've changed people. Alex is here where we was going to have Paige.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, good morning.
Morning.
I'm sure you were expecting a 5'6" petite, lovely lady, but you have me instead. So
Yeah.
thank you to Judge Kirkpatrick and the Commissioners Court for allowing us to come present. My name is Alex Russian, and I'm an energy consultant with the Tasby Energy Co-op. I've also brought my colleague Kyle Gullett, business services consultant. He is in your area for whatever you need to help out with energy, buy board, facility services, and many other products and services that TASB has to offer to your county. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The Texas Associated of School Boards is a voluntary nonprofit statewide educational association that serves and represents local Texas school boards. We offer an ample amount of products and services, not only to school districts, but to cities and counties as well. One of those including the TASB Energy Co-op. TASB Energy Co-op was created in 2008 around the time of deregulation, when many school districts and cities and counties came to us to help navigate through deregulation. Not only that, but they realized at the time that they were getting taken advantage of by many electricity companies as well as brokers. So they came to us to find a solution, and thus the Energy Cooperative was born. We currently serve over 200 school districts, cities, counties, and universities throughout the state. Around this area, Van ISD, Trinidad ISD, Westwood ISD, and Martin Mills ISD is taking us to board next week. City of Brownsboro actually just signed a 120-month term last month. Just like P3, we do run pools as well. And we only have 2 members currently with an expiration date in 2022. Last fall, we offered a pool where about 40 to 50 members locked in until 2034. Okay. But just like Mr. Quinn said, long-term is the way to go. What separates us from the rest of the pack, the rest of the electricity companies and brokers, is the fact that TASB has negotiated the contract within the favor of cities, counties, and school district. We offer benefits, which you can see on the sheet, and I can go into detail if you'd like, that you only get through our energy cooperative. To join the energy cooperative, it's a very simple process. It's an interlocal agreement, an IPA, and you basically just need to get it approved, and you can set it on the shelf whenever you want to use it to procure electricity. You're ready to rock and roll. This fulfills all state procurement requirements, and it's free of charge, and it's good for life. So it'll be here for 100, 200 years plus from now. Now, how do we select Direct Energy as our provider? For the last 10 years, Direct Energy has served as the awarded retail electric provider for the Energy Cooperative Electricity Program. Direct Energy was selected as a result of a competitive proposal and invitation process, and the most recent of which was conducted in 2019. After receiving an evaluation proposals from multiple retail electric providers, including TXU and Reliant, the Energy Cooperative's Board of Trustees selected Direct Energy for a new term beginning September 1, 2020 through August 31st of 2025. They've been with us since the start of the beginning. They see the value and the impact that we have as TASB to help school districts, cities, and counties with electricity. Any questions thus far about the program? Now let's talk about the key differences between your current provider, P3, and us. 3 main points I'd like to make. The first one is budget certainty, which the gentleman spoke with at the very beginning. The TASB Energy Cooperative members' pricing includes all cost components, which means they didn't receive a surprise pass-through charge during Winter Storm Uri. That means all 200 of our members did not see any increase in their rate. It stayed exactly the same. Whereas we have met with multiple counties and cities that are currently with P3, and they've had fees anywhere from $6,000 to $20,000 from Winter Storm Uri alone. Once again, our 200 members didn't see a single increase in charge. Second part, freedom. Energy co-op members have the freedom to choose what is in their best interest instead of being told by P3 when and for how long they can sign. Our members have the ability to lock in ranging from 12 months to 120 months. You have the purchasing power. You get to decide how long you go for in the rate. Number 3 is the control. Just like I said before, the members have the ability to sign a contract at any time. Right now, the county is at the mercy of P3, and prices have increased significantly over last year and will be more likely to continue to do so as the contract expiration date nears. The county could sign today with TASB to mitigate any risks to further increases, but will be subjected to whatever prices P3 presents once they decide the time is right. So you may be asking, what are rates looking like today? So as you can see, this was last night because I couldn't get to the market. partners direct energy this morning before the meeting. But this has been based off yesterday's pricing. You notice we have the terms on the left, 12 to 119 months, and your price on the right. And why it's important to go long term, just like Mr. Quinn said, there's much more volatility now in the current months, more trading activity with the months that are closest to us, and they're higher price. So in order to get the lower price, you have to go out further. Also, short-term pricing have been driven up due to generators shutting down, influx of people moving to the state of Texas, supply and demand, and liquid nitrogen gas exports are increasing. We are expected to have more and more renewables come on in the future. This also allows for lower rates, as you can see in the pricing proposal. Finally, as we all know, political pressure and the events have also impacted the electricity market with higher rates in the short term and the long term.
Anyone have any questions?
So yes, our rates may look higher, but that's the rate you will see for the next 10 years. No hidden fees, no surprises. We're gonna have 4 more winter storm areas, and your rate will still be the same. Now, I do have to warn you. We have been seeing that there are 2 new charges. You might have been seeing this on your current electricity bill. Due to Winter Storm Uri, like I said, 2 charges. One is the first, it's called securitization. And basically, what happened was a lot of the smaller co-ops that provide electricity to smaller communities around the state of Texas had to file for bankruptcy. So instead of those co-ops going under and having those communities not have electricity, the legislature passed a bill, House Bill 4492. House Bill 4492, that basically is going to socialize that price through all consumers, whether it be commercial, residential, or government entities. Second part of that is the resellers and wholesalers and generators also had a massive loss. So guess what? Part of that bill, the legislative decided to socialize that cost as well among everybody. So it doesn't matter who you go with, whether that be P3, us, TXU, the broker, those charges don't change. Finally, uplift. This is just an increase in ancillary charges, and this is based on the cost component for power increasing due to winter storm Uri. So basically, it's just going to cost us more money for power to pass through, to come through. So be on the lookout on your electricity bill, because it's coming. And I'd be curious to know how P3 or anyone else is handling it. We are including all those charges in our rate. Once again, no surprises. Budget certainty, control, and freedom.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mark.
Item number 10, discuss and consider burn ban for Van Zandt County. John, our fire marshal.
Thank you, Sean.
Morning, Judge,
Morning.
Commissioners. We're better off than we were last time we spoke about this. Right now, as of this morning, the KBDI average for us is basically at 339. 800 is the high, and 0 is the low, but we're coming in at 339 as of this morning. I did include in that packet I gave you the local government code, which is it's Title 11. It's Chapter 352. It basically discusses outdoor burning and everything. And in there, it talks about in drought conditions, once the Forestry Service recognizes that our county is in drought, it says they shall notify the county. Then they shall notify the county again once we have got out of the drought condition. So we haven't been officially notified, to my knowledge. I don't know that they called the judge or if they called Vicky or if they call me, but I don't think any of us have been notified of any sort of extreme condition. for that. So that's where we are with that. Talking to other commissioners, 575 is kind of the trip mark where they start, the hairs on their neck start standing up and they're like, yeah, we need a burn ban. So once we hit that or more, it's where they kind of, I spoke this morning directly with Kaufman County. I'll talk to Henderson County Monday. Neither one of them right now are pressing for that in their counties. I don't think Hunt County is either with Mr. Hill over there. I did do a count because I've got volunteer firemen that are just jumping on my back about we're running grass fires, and they're right. So we did. So my numbers are a little skewed because with the change of software in the sheriff's office and dispatch, the previous software they had did not specify grass fire versus now this other one, the Southern software now, if she could give me the number on of grass fire versus this fire versus that fire and all that. Currently, for this year, from the first of the year, they ran 272 grass fires countywide. Now, whether that be a spark of a little spot on the road burning somewhere or, 100 acres burning, it's anything from all that. But 272 grass fire responses has been done for the first 2.5 months of this year. Last year, at this same time, for January and February of last year is what I've got, 117 total fire calls. She could just give me the total fire calls on that printout. So you could, we're significantly higher right there on just grass fires alone. We're way more than just there even that. So our average this year for responses is a lot higher. So they are going to more fires, but we've just been treading right on the line of should we or shouldn't we? And then even this morning looking at it, we're better off than we were 2 weeks ago. So I'm in the position of saying we just got to ride this out. My office isn't recommending one, although if you see in the deal, it's on y'all. It's y'all's decision to vote to if you want. It's not going to hurt my feelings if y'all feel like we should put one in place at all. But if I don't see that we're gonna do. I think we're going to end up turning around and lifting it pretty soon if we did put one in place with these weather trends and stuff.
And I was hearing you was getting pressure put on you from the fire department.
Well, no one, and the funny thing is they're not coming to me. They're just talking around me about it.
Oh, really?
And I go figure, right?
Yeah.
No, nobody's come to ask me like, hey, why won't you recommend a burn ban? So that I can explain how this works,
Yeah.
that there are parameters we have to fall within to make that decision. And it isn't just a matter, because, if it was just a matter of us saying burn ban, I'd say, hey, let's just do it year round, nonstop, no burning. And it'd make everybody's life easier then. But we're not that county, we're not in the place to do that. So anyways, but yeah.
And
So
I think, I support not placing one. It gets, every winter the grass gets dead. And we're having more fires, but is that because the grass is dead, or we've got more people that just, used to, you didn't just go out there in the middle of a hayfield and start up a fire. But so whatever the reason is, I think there's a lot of moisture grasses about to put up. But y'all heard the recommendation. What's your pleasure? Okay, I'll go out on a limb.
I'll say table.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Got a motion to table by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Melton, to table item number 10, the burn ban for Van Zandt County, and we'll bring it back 2 weeks from now, look at it, or as.
Fair enough.
needed.
I'd say we can look at it meeting to meeting and just, I think we're going to see a trend of where we just kind of stay in the moderate moisture range from here on out, because we're about to hit in the rainy season, hopefully. And, we're getting morning dew every morning and things with, just with weather conditions as they are historically how it goes, we should be expecting to see some relief. Grass is supposed to, it's going to be coming back greener now.
It was a lot wetter this time last year.
Sure.
And I've seen a lot of fires driving through the county. They're started on the side of the road, not by somebody burning something.
Chain dragging.
Which that's gonna happen whether
cigarettes.
you've got a burn ban or not. So I'm for tabling.
Okay, got a motion second. All in favor of tabling the burn ban, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Don't let the pressure get you. Item number 11, discuss and consider lease copier for human resources from Rico USA. Scott, you want to address the court?
If the HR department needs a copier, they do a lot of confidential documents. They can't, right now they're going into treasurer's office or the auditor's office. She's going to the auditor's office to make copies and she has to leave whoever's in her office there when she goes to make those copies. So it's a smaller copier. It's $33.20 a month. Any large project she'll do, she'll still print out in the other offices and the larger copiers, but she doesn't need to scan and copy and print those confidential documents in her office.
Does that come out of your budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got the money for
You know,
it? Tax.
not exactly, but yeah.
Okay,
$33.20 and there's 6 months left in the budget. It's not gonna be a lot of money.
Motion to approve.
okay, got a motion by Commissioner Melton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaBrette. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Scott. Item number 12, discuss and consider approve an exemption to the competitive bidding requirement for the contract of 2 attorneys to represent defendants in the 294th District Court under Local Government Code 262.0244. Judge Martin's here to present that. We discussed it 2 weeks ago.
Y'all ever had someone not talk directly to you, but talk around you? 'Cause that sounded awfully familiar a minute ago. It's pretty good. Well, I hope y'all have had ample time to look through that contract since the last presentation. I'll just open the floor if you have any questions about anything in that contract or any concerns you may have. And I know that's the next item, and so
Right.
the exemption that you can apply is discretionary for the court. And so what I would implore the court to do is to utilize that exemption, not require us to go out for competitive bidding, because there's not going to be any competitive bidding coming in for this type of service by any local attorneys in Van Zandt County, because the 2 that are willing to do it are 2 out of 3, and the 3rd is not interested, to my understanding. So if any bids that you got would be coming from attorneys that are probably not familiar with Van Zandt County, how we work, the courts, or be citizens or residents of Van Zandt County that would provide local legal services to indigent criminal defendants. So I would ask you to utilize that exemption and trust me to help the county contract with 2 competent attorneys that are going to give a very good legal service that we're paying for.
Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Melton to exempt
To exempt the competitive bidding.
requirement. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 13, discuss and consider and approve contracts for legal services for criminal injury defense. That's where the contracts, you have the contracts before you. I get call, made a couple of calls. Patty straightened me out.
That's what she does for me as well.
I went through the contract, and as I went through the contract, I got to the end and it had 1 attorney's cemetery. And she said, well, that's because there's a contract for each attorney. That makes sense. So, and so you have 2 contracts in your books, 1 for each attorney. Will be signing separate contracts. I didn't know what date. The term of the contract would be 24 months, beginning on.
Date of the contract.
Okay.
So whenever whenever the county seeks to enter that contract with each one of the attorneys and it gets signed, would begin the term of the contract.
You bring these back at the end, towards the end of the contract to renew.
Yeah, so I think you'll see in the contract, the term is for 24 months with a 3-month cancellation. I say cancellation, a 3-month, non-renewal, or there could be for cause, on either side. So, yeah, so I'd anticipate, what I would probably do, Commissioner Melton, is within 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, is I would come back to the court and just kind of give you a reporting of how the contract's going, good, bad, ugly, things of that nature, what we anticipate in the future, is just kind of keep you in the loop, so that we'll have a discussion about it going forward. That way, it's not all of a sudden at the end of the term and we're looking to re-up or to not. So that's what I would anticipate I would do for you. We'll be tracking that data as far as appointments, dispositions, some of these things that we're going to have to be, the data that we're going to have to be keeping along the way, that we have to report to the state, to the Indigent Defense Commission. So that's what I think would be the most appropriate thing to do, is just give a report card along the way of how the contracts work.
Is there a motion to approve the contracts?
I'll make a motion we approve and let Judge Martin move forward.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion for Judge Martin? Being none, all in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I want to just say sincerely appreciate the court for doing this. I know this is not something that we've seen in the past, but it's something that I do believe is necessary. If you didn't approve it, I think the next move, we're going to have somebody from the state in here saying we have to do it. So I think your ability to look through this and be looking forward and understanding we have to do that. I appreciate you trusting me with entering into these contracts and providing for this legal need that we have to provide. So I just want to thank the court, and I'll thank Commissioner West when he's back. So
Well, I think it's going to be a good thing for Vincent County.
I think it's going to be real positive.
Yeah,
thing.
that's what we're looking
I
at.
think it's going to be helpful. I see Sheriff Hendricks is here, Lieutenant Harrelson. I think it's going to be very helpful to them as well on dealing with attorney visitations and some of these other issues that we've been having that they've been struggling with because of jail staff and the number of attorneys and things of that nature. So I think this is going to help streamline that to where they'll know people they're working with most of the time, and the people and the attorneys will know when's going to be the ideal time to get in there to see their people. So I'm thinking that it's going to have some ancillary, benefits to it that were not really expected at the beginning of just legal defense provided to indigent defendants, but some of the things are going to help the county along the way as well, multiple departments.
So. Okay, item number 14, Fiscal memorandum of understanding with the Andrew Center to provide mental health diagnostic services, psychiatric evaluation, and continued treatment for individuals placed on the forensic Clearinghouse MSU waiting list. I thought Judge Martin, you may address the court.
Yes, I want to introduce to you Ms. Kathy Wakefield from the Andrew Center. She's here to present with me on this. And Ms. Abraham, like you said earlier, keeps it squared away. She can some information there. And so I just kind of want to give you a little bit of a backdrop as to what we're presenting today. And then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wakefield. She's the expert in this, and she'll be able to tell you the full details of what we're looking to do. Just a little bit of a backdrop. So if an individual is arrested here in Vincent County, they're taken out to the Sheriff Hendricks jail and they are booked in, and if they start exhibiting any type of mental health issues, as a lot of them do, then they sit out there, and the jail staff may alert the DA's office. They may alert the court that maybe it's a severe mental health issue. And we're not talking about just if it's so bad that they can't care for themselves, it becomes a threat to their safety. Of course, they're going to intervene with medical emergency treatment. But this is maybe bipolar or schizophrenia or something like that. Maybe they can't speak, things of that nature. Then usually that person sits there and they're provided for in the jail, right? And if there's no medical necessity of intervention for their physical well-being,
It's really just mental well-being. And usually they sit there and they won't be medicated. If they came in on their mental health treatments, then they're not going to be getting those there at the jail. And a lot of times they end up there because they're off their mental health treatments, they're off their mental health medication. That's a large part of why they ended up there in the jail in the first place. Well, once they get there in that situation, then usually it's once an indigent defense attorney gets appointed, they come in, they meet with them, they try to talk with them about the case. That's usually the first step where the attorneys realize, okay, this person, they're not cognizant to, present time, since things of that nature. They're not able to assist in their defense. They're not able to explain why they're there. They're not able to understand who they are, perhaps. And usually that triggers the attorney contacting the court and saying, Judge, we need a competency evaluation, in which I then go appoint a disinterested expert, psychiatrist, psychologist, who goes out and performs a legal competency evaluation. And they're looking for, are they able to understand the charges against them? Are they able to assist in their defense? Can they comprehend these things on a legal basis? So the psychologist or psychiatrist that's appointed goes out, they perform that evaluation. If they come back and they say this person is competent, right, then okay, the court is able to go forward with the case, allow the prosecution to go forward. But on the other hand, if they come back and they say that they're incompetent, they don't have the legal ability to comprehend the charges, then the prosecution has to halt, and they have to then be treated for restoration. And so that's either going to occur on an outpatient basis or an inpatient. And largely it's an inpatient treatment because the people that are usually there are there for some type of assaultive, family violence, assaultive type behavior, perhaps, or theft or something like that. So a lot of times they're a harm to society in their present state. And so then they go onto the waiting list to go into Terrell State Hospital or any one of the other state hospitals. And the state, did you provide the district court with a copy of the wait list at all? No, okay. So once they get on that list and they sit there and they wait, and we compete with all other counties, in our region of going to that hospital, and I'm sure Kathy's gonna have a lot more information on that to give to you, and Ms. Neal can provide that to you. So I'll have it right here. There it is. I've got it. Takes two of them. Sure enough. So for example, we have 4 inmates right now that have gone through that process. They've been evaluated, they've been deemed incompetent, and now they're waiting to go into inpatient competency restoration at Terrell State or any other state hospital that has the availability. And so, for example, out of our 4, our longest that's been sitting in jail and waiting. Now, it's complicated because this individual has to go to a maximum security unit. So there's only so many beds available in the state for that. He's been there today 700 days in jail. So let's just start thinking about the cost of that daily cost of keeping that person for Sheriff Hendricks out there and our taxpayers. He's been on the list 308 days, waiting to get into this maximum security unit in the state hospital. We have another one that's been waiting 386 days in jail. He's number 151 on the list. The next been waiting 257 days in jail. He's number 196. I'm sorry, he's been on the list 196 days. He's currently number 96 on the list to get into Terrell State Hospital. And then we have another individual who's been in jail 118 days. He's been on the waiting list 62 days. And he also has to go to a maximum security unit. He's number 573. He's number 573. So this is a serious issue that we have. And I'll just be honest with you, when I was DA, I believe that we were already under this contract. We already had a program like this. And it was unbeknownst to me that we did not once I took the bench. I'm not sure why we haven't already had this program in place. But here's the point. I'll give you a good case example. We had an individual in any of the Lieutenant Harrelson can feel free to add into this because I know that you have that experience. We had an individual out there who I personally would go out there We would try to conduct court, or we would try to be out there, and this individual would scream nonstop from morning to night. I mean, nonstop for days on end. I don't know physically how he did it. He was a former classmate of mine, and it was kind of a sad situation, but he had a severe mental health issue, and he was not on his mental health medications. And it was nonstop for days on end, days on end. And it was only because Ms. Taperham was speaking with his mother to find out that he was already a patient of the Andrews Center. And we were able to make some phone calls. And I believe that his mother was a part of that and was able to get the Andrews Center psychologist or psychiatrist to go out and meet with him. And he'd already been deemed incompetent. All right. And so the psychologist, psychiatrist from the Andrews Center, Dr. Corman, was able to go out and evaluate. And we already had the evaluation done, but was able to go out and see, based on this evaluation, you've been deemed incompetent. Here's your mental health diagnosis. And so here's what we need to do with your medications. And they were able to go ahead and give him his medications, and that leveled him off. And it got him to the point where he could be reevaluated for competency, and he was then deemed competent without ever having to go to the state hospital. So he didn't have to sit here for 699 days or 386 days or be number 573 on the list. So that brought it to our attention. Why aren't all of these individuals undergoing that? Well, it just so happened that this individual that was able to get back on his mental health meds while he was in the jail was already a patient of the Andrews Center and had that ability. These other individuals did not. So what I'm presenting to you today is for us to enter into this agreement with the Andrews Center to allow them to come out once a competency evaluation has been done and a mental health diagnosis made and an incompetent status made, that they're able to go out and evaluate those that need mental health meds and be able to prescribe them and get them on that so that they can hopefully do one of a few things, either be able to restore to a level of competency that we can reevaluate them and then determine, okay, now you understand the charges that are against you. You're able to assist in your defense. You got a rational understanding of the legal proceeding. That allows the prosecution to go forward, and that allows the court judicial process to go forward. And once that happens, we get closer to reaching that end date of getting them out of the jail, either probation, dismissal, or prison, whatever it is, trying to limit the time that they're in jail, right? And so either they're able to do that, or they get to the point where the Andrews Center says, hey, we recommend that they go to restoration outside of the jail. And if they're a flight risk, if they're a non-violent risk, then perhaps we can put them on outpatient restoration. And we still have our thumbs on them. They still have to comply with their release agreements. And if they don't, they go back to jail. But we've had, I believe, an individual or two that we were able to put on that outpatient restoration program. And so really the heart of what we have learned is that most of these individuals who go into the jail are not on their mental health meds. And as they're there, once they've been deemed incompetent, they're not going to get competent on their own. It's going to take waiting to send them to the state hospital where they can get the mental health treatment that they need so that they can be brought back to competency restoration at some point, so that then they can be returned to our jail and returned to the judicial system to face, whatever charges have been brought against them. We know that if they sit there without being treated, that they're not going to get better on their own. But we do know that if they're there and they're continuing either to deteriorate or they're making no improvements, then if we intervene with mental health evaluations and medications, there's a great opportunity for them to get restored either on their own. And this individual, this example I gave you, he restored on his own. Once the mental health, he restored on his own. Once he got his mental health medications, he was able to level out. And he quit screaming, he quit yelling, he started talking with his attorney. And I'll tell you, I was kind of surprised. The next court date I saw him, he was calm, cool, collected. And I thought, all I've got to do is ask a couple of questions. And I'm sure this guy's going to go off and we're going to go right back to the same side. And he did not. He was very intelligent young man. I think he was one of the few Canton graduates that was a merit scholar. And so I was able to discuss with him his case with his attorney, and it was night and day different, night and day different. I mean, he was so competent that he ended up getting out on bond and recommitting another offense and coming right back in, right? And so I'm gonna, at this time, I've probably said too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to Ms. Wakefield, so she give you more information about, do you have any questions for me about what I presented so far on kind of how we got here? No? Okay, good. I'm sorry.
Sure. Thank you, Judge Kirkpatrick, Commissioners, for having me here. Again, my name is Kathy. I'm the Director of Forensic Services at Andrews Center. I've been there over 33 years, licensed professional. So to kind of build on what the judge here has said, that just recently I learned that individuals are not moving currently from the jails transitioning to the prisons, because the prisons are 8,000 employees short of having sufficient staff to be able to bring too many prisoners into their system. So with the backlog there, the backlog that COVID has presented with being able to do pretrial trials, those numbers of days remaining in the jail waiting on a hospital bed are just going to explode exponentially. Wanted to share with you that there are two types of waiting lists for people who are in jail waiting for that competency bed. You've got the maximum security unit, which is the for the 3G felony offenses, the murder, the rape, the assault. The waiting list for those is the longest wait has been since March of 2020. So typically with those individuals, they are out of control, yelling, screaming, they're a threat to the safety, security of the jailers. So you've got those individuals continuing to deteriorate. So that's over a 2-year wait. And when I did this report 2 weeks ago, there were 3 individuals waiting on a bed in Van Zandt County. Well, now there's 4. And this is just not a county problem. This is not just a regional problem. This is a state problem. For the maximum security list for the state, it's 849 individuals, inmates. So it's not that Canton is waiting for the next Canton inmate to move out for Van Zandt County. It's that there's 849 ahead of. And then you've also, and the restoration for the maximum security units are Rusk and then Vernon, sometimes Montgomery, and Palestine Regional will contract on an occasion. Then you've got the Clearinghouse waiting list. That waiting list is for individuals who are misdemeanors or could be felonies, but they're not violent felonies. And so for those individuals, the list is usually about 16-month wait. So when we're talking, some folks will say, well, jail's going to have people in their beds anyway. So what if it's a difference in a non-mental health patient or mental health patient? Non-mental health patient on average costs $45 a day for that bed. For a mental health patient, that easily triples to $145 a day. And depending on the psychiatric medication they are on, psychiatric injections can run $1,000 per injection per month. And there are some psychiatric medications now, Caplyta for one, $10,000 for a 30-day supply. So it's a lot of money for the taxpayers, for all of us to bear. So what we can do to help alleviate this problem is to provide services in the jail for once the individual has been deemed incompetent to stand trial by the county's contracted forensic psychologists, psychiatrists. We can have our psychiatrists to perform psychiatric evaluations, get them on medications, and could be forced medications if the individual is not willing. Dr. Corman had a report with the gentleman that the judge here referred to. These would be individuals who we don't have any knowledge of. So it would take probably some type of forced medication order by the judge at the recommendation of the doctor. So once the doctor has that individual on their caseload, then they're providing monitoring and adjusting meds as needed. To be able to make that happen, we'd have to have a licensed professional like myself, like some of my staff, come in and do the assessments, which will be required to make sure they do have a mental illness, to get them into the Andrews Center system, and then to do all the necessary state paperwork to get them set up and ready to be seen by the doctor. So we've discussed the two types of waiting list, what Andrews Center can provide, and there's a lot of misconception about what is Andrews Center supposed to do. Andrews Center has provided monies by each of the county courts commissioners to provide mental health services. According to the TAC code 25, chapter 412, subchapter G, what we are responsible providing is 24/7 crisis services. That means we have availability for them to be assessed and helps the jail to determine, do they need to be put in solitary? Do they need a psychiatric bed? And then we assist with either getting them into a psychiatric bed, those charges can be dismissed, or getting them on the clearinghouse or maximum security waiting list. What the TAC code, Texas Administrative Code, relating to Texas Commission on Jail Standards, does not require of entities, local mental health authorities such as Andrews Center, is that we provide ongoing medical, mental, dental services. That's to be contracted out. And the county can either contract with their local LMHA, Andrews Center, or they can contract out with another entity out there. So we have the ability to assist the county and doing those mental health diagnostic services and psychiatric evaluations to get someone on the meds. In addition, I have the stapled paper that you've been provided. Those are just some of the forensic programs that we have going on right now. Van Sant County is a big utilizer of our community programs that's been going on for 30 years. Also, y'all have begun to use our outpatient competency. And something else with this, doing competency services in the jail, another option is if someone restores well enough, they've just not crossed that line to be determined competent to stand trial, then our outpatient competency restoration program can also step in. They can be PR bonded out, and then that will cut back even more on bed days required. And the final thing I've provided you with, just informational, the impact report for Andrews Center services and how much money is spent and on what, how much services that we've done for the 5 counties that we serve: Smith, Van Zandt, Rains, Wood, and Henderson. No, I said a lot. Probably have some questions, I would guess.
You want to have a question?
So are the 3 inmates that are in jail now that have to be sent to Rusk or someplace like, they're not receiving any medication at this point?
No, sir.
None at all?
No, sir. They are not Andrews Center clients. If it were Andrews Center clients, we continue providing psychiatric care while they're in the jail. They continue to see our psychiatrists, our nurse practitioners. If they are not an Andrews Center client, then the county is just contract with someone. And I believe the county is contracting with Southern Health Partners at this time, but the question is, have those individuals been referred to this private entity?
And we did check with Southern Health to make sure that this wasn't already a covered service that we're paying for, and it's not. They instructed us that would be additional. It's not covered under our contract with them for them to provide psychiatric evaluations of inmates. And so I definitely checked that out before I said I did, just Abraham did.
She's
I
amazing.
gotta give credit where credit's due.
She's
And
amazing.
so also I want to say that before we just came to the Commissioner's Court on this, I did communicate with Sheriff Hendrick to let him know what we were interested in, why we were interested in it, the same thing we indicated here to you today. He's had an opportunity to review that contract. He is supportive of that because I think at the end of the day, it's both of our goals to, as Ms. Wakefield said, to reduce bed days at the jail. And, I'm sure Lieutenant Harrelson probably has a great number of stories about how they have to deal with the mental health inmates versus everyone else. So we're trying to reduce that. And we just know that with individuals who are not getting mental health treatment, they're going to continue to deteriorate. They're going to get harder to deal with. And I'm looking here on my list, this one individual, they're all sad situations, but this one gentleman, I'm no mental health expert, but I can tell you when he walked in, I already thought he's paranoid schizophrenic because he's almost mute. He doesn't speak. He doesn't say anything. He's terrified to be in the room. It's like he doesn't know where he's at. He's frail. And I could only imagine, and I did, if I'm in this gentleman's head, if you don't know where you're at and you don't know what's going on and you don't know who these people are, and it's because of a mental health issue, then that's got to be a terrifying state to be in. And so that's one situation where I know that as soon as we get some of these individuals on some medications, then it's going to help them. If anything, even if it doesn't restore them to competency, it's the decent thing to do. It's the morally right thing to do to help these people get to where they're not terrified, they're not afraid, that they don't understand. Well, that way they can have some kind of understanding about why they're there and what their future looks like. Go ahead, sorry. No, go ahead.
The MSU that I've provided, the judge, I have rates on here. And just to let you know that we cannot charge less than Medicare reimbursement laws. So those are the least amount that we can charge.
Well, on that, we get them restored to competency and they're able to bond out. Do we continue paying this for them services or they go under Medicaid?
Once they are out of jail, then they just slide over and become a regular Andrew Center client, not a forensic client. Something that can be done because many of these individuals do, once they're out of jail, stop their medications, put conditions of probation so that someone can watch them and when they're use that as leverage, some black robe effect to try to get the individual to remain on their medication.
And they'll continue to see the same doctors that way. So there's a continuity in care, they're comfortable.
Depends on where they live, what county. If they remain in Van Zandt County and they were started with Dr. Corman, because he does Van Zandt County, they would probably remain with Dr. Corman. Now, if they stop services, move off, come back, just depends on the length of time, since Dr. Corman had seen them last, how emergent it is. Do they need to get in with someone immediately? There are always things to consider, but more than likely they would stay with the psychiatrist who would be treating them in the jail.
In my experience, once they're restored to competency, rarely is it a bond out prosecution continue issue. It's usually they stay in jail, they're competent, and they plead out. They either plead out and the case is closed. We've only had one or two situations where they actually bonded out and then have to come back to custody. So once they reach that level of competency, it's my experience that the DA's office, will keep them in the jail along with their defense attorneys until they can reach a resolution so that it's done. So either they're getting time served or they're going to the pen or they're getting probation. They try to avoid that. Okay, we're going to let you out of jail to see if you stay on your mental health medications. We know you're getting your mental health medications while you're in the jail, so we're going to keep you there, until you can resolve your case. That's largely my experience on that, rather than bond out. You run the risk of them getting out and staying, especially if they don't have a support system. And that's what we see with a lot of these individuals. The three or the four that we have waiting now are different than the one example I gave you, because the one individual who was able to regain restoration without having to go to state hospital had a support system. They had a mother that was, consistently working to get him help. These other individuals do not. They don't have a support system. So once they're out, they're out. And they're, that time of competency is pretty short-lived while they're on the mental health medication. And if they get out without monitoring, without keeping on there, it evaporates pretty quick. And they end up either back in because they violated the conditions of pretrial release, or they committed another offense, or they failed to appear to court. So a lot of times, Commissioner Brad, they're going to stay in jail until their case is finalized, but they're going to be competent when that they can only be competent when that happens.
And this is pretty well just an assessment at one time. Fee, go out there and check them.
Well, the doctor, once he puts them on medications, he's gonna have to monitor them. So depending
Correct.
on how quickly they're responding, any side effects, it may be he needs to see them another time, or two or three.
So I know we're taking a lot of time up here, but just to be clear now, so your doctor, your psychiatrist, will he go out and examine and find them either incompetent or competent?
No, sir, that's what the county has, a psychologist, a PhD that they contract with that does that. So finding someone incompetent is an outside entity.
Once he's found incompetent, then you all come in and
Correct,
try to restore that.
right.
And if you think he's restored, then does the same psychiatrist have to come back and find him competent?
Yes, yes. Doesn't have to be the same, but largely it is the same. So we contract with
Doctor.
no, actually, no, we contract Dr. Ingram. And so he does the initial competency evaluation at $500. And if he's incompetent, he or she's incompetent, then once we think we have restoration, then that same, usually the same Dr. Ingram will come back in and reevaluate. That way you're dealing apples to apples. They've seen them before, they've seen them secondarily. And that's what happened. That has happened on a couple of occasions.
And our psychiatrist would not go into the jail. It would be televideo type situation, which is what he did with the one that was restored.
But our court-appointed expert, Dr. Ingram, does not treat, he's not their treating physician, so he's not prescribing medications. He's not doing those things. He is contracted just for competency evaluation. And so we really need part A and part B. We need the incompetency finding, if that's the case. And then we need the treating psychiatrist who can give the mental health diagnosis. And our evaluating also makes a diagnosis of what they believe is going on. And then we need part B, which is the treating of that. And that's where Dr. Foreman and the Injury Center come in and help treat these people while they're sitting there waiting for bedding. And ultimately, you may have to provide services and then still go to state hospital, because the restoration process is going to have to be an inpatient facility where it's 24/7. That may still have to be the case, but we believe that a large number of these people are not going to have to get there, and they're going to be able to be restored while they're sitting here in the jail. And the days that we're looking at, as Ms. Wakefield has indicated, the numbers are just kind of exploding. You're going to wait here 2 years. If you don't reach competency within 2 years of any mental health units, you got some serious mental health issues, right?
And just an FYI, we have our outpatient competency program. They've been operating for about 6 years now, I'm guessing. They have a success rate of 70 to 100%, depends on the year, depends on the diagnosis, because sometimes we get some persons with mental retardation thrown in there. But they're restoring the competency falls anywhere from 70 to 100%, which is huge.
And how long have you been with Henderson?
This is my 33rd year.
33rd year. And where's your office?
My office is in Tyler, but being a director, travel.
Because I believe in this program, but I've dealt with Andrew Center for almost 20 years now. And to say that, I mean, we have an Andrew Center here. I deal with me and my clerk, we deal with them. And trying to get someone assessed through the Andrews Center.
This,
I hear what you're saying, is that, hey, we'll be there. But I'm also on the other side of it, trying to get people assessed, and we signed a contract, we got a contract with Andrews Center, other than this, for mental health services out here. And I don't mean, it's been a huge, of course, I know y'all are going through a lot of stuff internally. And in the process of correcting some issues
yes, sir.
that they've been needing corrected for several years.
Over the last 5 years, I've been over the forensics program, and I think you'll see that there's been great improvement. Jennifer Graham, she's one of my licensed professionals that works in Zandt County. I think she's getting quite a reputation of doing a good job. And an assessment with a contract as this is more time, I won't say limited, but in the contract, it's written that we have 5 days to respond to get in there and get that assessment done. Now, if you're just someone coming in off the street needing assessment, different story.
I got it. And that's where the judge, will you be, or Mr. Abraham be the one doing the calling to have them come out and do the assessment?
Yes, so, and this is going to be after finding incompetency. So that's going to begin either with the jail staff notifying Ms. Abraham or the DA's office that they believe someone has a mental health issue and they're incompetent, right? Or it's going to begin with the attorney, either retained attorney or court-appointed attorney, or one of our contract attorneys. They would then contact us and they would file a motion that says that they're asking for an evaluation, and that's how that would start. And so it would go from our up from the jail or the attorneys to Ms. Abraham or the defense, and then we would contact someone to request that. Well, actually, we would appoint Dr. Ingram. We would appoint Dr. Ingram, and if he's unavailable, another disinterested expert. And then once they make that finding, now they come back and they say competent, then we're most likely not going to do that. But if they say incompetent, then we would then pass that information to the injury center. That's how that process works.
Okay, any other questions for either Kathy or Judge?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Is there a motion to enter into the memorandum of understanding with Andrews Center for the Forensic Clearinghouse MSU waiting list? Got a motion by Commissioner Melton. Is there a second?
Second,
Got a second by Commissioner Pearson. Any questions or discussion?
and the jails. Good with, this is what y'all want to do?
Any other questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 15, discuss and consider allowing the sheriff to accept donation for compost from Jeff Soul for Texas Organics for the inmate garden project.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We recently, we've had a couple of inmate work projects going. One in Precinct 3, the trustees working to fill in potholes in the road, assist the road and bridge crew. Same thing in Precinct 1 we've begun recently. And so we've got 2 more projects we've recently started, one of which is we've got a crew out twice a week. We have a male crew and a female crew operating on different days, picking up trash in our county, state, and US, eventually the US highways as well. We're gonna be out picking up trash in our county, trying to make our community a better place. Another project we started this year is the garden project. I know this is a project they've done in the past. We started that again. And so we've actually thought of a garden next to the sheriff's office. This does several things. It teaches them a skill. It also offsets our food cost budget. We used to feed the inmates with fresh fruits and vegetables. And it also, like I say, it seems to boost the morale of our inmates. And plus they're retired, there's no problems. So in the course of doing this, we've had some people reach out and offer some donations. So we wanted to ask the court permission to accept these things, which is going to be item 15 and 16. The first of which is from Jeff Souls of Texas Organics. He is donating compost for our garden. The amount of that, I believe, is $4,050. And that's to for the compost and then to spread and fill it. So they're donating labor and materials. So we just asked the court's permission to accept that.
So move, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 16, discuss and consider allowing sheriff to accept donation of seeds from Carrie Hodges for the inmate garden project.
Once again, we've had people reach out and offer donations, and this particular person's donated seeds. I don't know what the total amount is here. It's $1.44 for each packet, and 12 packets. So not a large sum of money there, but once again, we appreciate their willingness to help us out, and just ask the court's permission to accept these donations for seeds.
Motion.
So move, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Melton. Any question or discussion?
Is the garden gonna be out there in the city property?
Yes, it's right next door there. We actually recovered the water. There was a water line running out there that used in the past to water the garden. We've actually found that water line and got it all fixed, and we're going to water the garden. And so we're excited that we've already got the seed that's coming up and what we purchased. And so we're pretty excited about this. I know the lieutenant here is spearheading this whole project. And, she's actually smiling from that.
Is there a motion to allow the sheriff to accept the donation?
You got it in a second.
Oh, I've already got a motion, a second. Okay. Any other question, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Once again, we appreciate the strong working relationship we have with you guys.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Sheriff. Item number 17, discuss and consider and approve the order of the special election for the May the 7th state constitutional amendment election. Susan, you want to? Can you hear?
Well,
Okay.
no, the microphone's off.
Yeah.
We usually come to court to go ahead and call for an election. So that's what this first item is. So it's a special election for May 7th.
Constitutional amendment election. Okay.
Yes, which will include some other stuff too, some of the schools, cities.
Is there a motion to approve the order of the special election for May the 7th state constitutional amendment election?
Made.
Got a motion by Commissioner LaPrade, second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions or discussion for Susan? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 18, discuss and consider approve interlocal agreement for joint election with the city of Zandt.
And that's the one we do a interlocal agreement because we do not get charged from them when we use their facilities. So we don't charge them. So we go into interlocal agreement.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the interlocal agreement for joint election with the city of Zandt?
Yes, sir, Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 19, discuss and consider and approve joint election services contract with the city of Wills Point, the city of Grants Lean, the Grants Lean ISD, Maybank ISD, and Edgewood ISD.
Yes. And this one here, the way it's worded is because they actually will be leasing some equipment from us and will also be handling their ballots. Some of them will actually do their own election, but they're leasing equipment from us. Will's Point's got a bond coming in and they'll be using our equipment since we did receive finally the cords that we had 4 machines that didn't have any cords. And they were not going to be able to use our equipment. So we did get those and so,
Well, this Wills Point ISD has a bond, not the city of Wills Point, but they're not
oh,
listed on this.
correct. Mhm.
Wills Point ISD is not listed here.
Okay, we may have to come back to court because we will be including them.
Including the city of Wills Point or?
No.
No, for the bonds, we'll
ISD.
have to come back to court.
Are you good with your times?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so you're gonna leave it right there. You could add it now.
Can we make you?
Well, if you want to, that's fine. We can edit
If,
it because
if
we
we
know
know we're
that
going
they're,
to need. it.
yes, we got the cords yesterday.
Okay.
We
Okay,
didn't know
well, you
if
can
we
add
were
that.
going to be able
Yeah.
to do it or not.
Yeah.
They've sent 3 different things to us. None of it were the cords that we needed.
Okay.
I make a motion, we accept, approve this contract as listed, adding Wills Point ISD.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner LaPrade. Any questions or discussion for Susan? The motion was as stated in the agenda with the addition of Wills Point ISD.
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 20, discuss and consider and approve advanced funding agreement with TxDOT for bridge project on Van Zandt County Road 1102 at Buffalo Creek.
Yes, gentlemen, this is in follow-up to last meeting's agenda item regarding the resolution and waivers. We sent that over, and they prepared the agreement. So it'll follow along with that for us to enter the agreement where we'll put in a tank car culvert in exchange that'll be on the bridge.
That's your match, St. Clair.
Yes, sir. So I'll make a motion, we approve the agreement.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner LaFrette, second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 21, discuss and consider and approve commercial trailer lease agreement with Brazos Trailer Manufacturing for belly dump lease for precinct 1.
And gentlemen, it's also mine. I purchased an additional day cab and I'm just leasing an additional belly dump trailer to go with it. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, Pearson.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner LaFrette, second by Commissioner Pearson. How much is that lease for?
Should be 3,000 for the 6 months, 500 a month, sir.
3,000 for five a month, 500 a month?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 22, discuss and consider and approve disposing of surplus property not sold during the auction. Is that Joe's?
Was mine, Judge?
That's yours? Okay.
No. Let's do one, yeah.
What is your suggestion of disposing, donating it? Or,
Well, these are just the items that were left that no one bid on the online auction. I can tell you, it has no value. It is basically trash. No one bid on it. Government code allows us to, once we went through all of the procedures, that the court can dispose of.
okay.
They're gonna have to sit here or be destroyed. And Mr. Carter, he's done very well
He
on anything that can go and get scrapped. he's taking that to scrap, so these are just wooden chairs, they're broken.
We did our part. I make a motion, we dispose of them.
There you go. Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second? Second. Got a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions or discussion? Being none, all in favor of disposing of the surplus property not sold during the auction, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 23, discuss and consider approval of Dove Estates in Precinct 3.
The 3-lot subdivision in precinct 3 of Van Zandt County Road 3808. All the lots come out to 3808. They've done everything that we've asked on our subdivision guidelines. I make a motion we accept for filing purposes.
Okay, got a motion. Second. Got a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 24, discuss and consider approval of Meadowview Acres in Precinct 3.
Another 3-lot subdivision. These are little smaller lots of 1 acre or barely over 1 acre at the corner of Van Zandt County Road 3813 and 3804. They've done all of our requirements. Make a motion we approve for filing.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second? I'll
Second.
second it. Got a motion? Yeah, I second. Any questions, discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 25, discuss and consider approval of fiscal year 2022 budget amendments.
So move Pearson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pearson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner LaFred. Any questions or discussion on the budget amendments that's been presented? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 26, discuss and consider monthly reports submitted by various offices and departments of county government, approval of entry of same in the court's minutes matter as a matter of record. You have the reports before you. Is there a motion to approve?
There he is, Pearson.
Okay. Commissioner Pearson made a motion to approve the reports. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions or discussion on the reports that's been submitted? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 27, we will now enter into closed executive session in compliance with section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Number 1, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, resignation, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint to charge against an officer or employee. We will reconvene, and someone needs to make sure when we reconvene, y'all secretary knows. And we will.
She's not a
reconvene.
secretary.
What is she?
She's an administrative.
Administrative.
Administrative assistant. Well, she's